She was only 21, and her star was on the rise. This week's I Remember When True Crime Edition is about Rebecca Schaeffer. Just a quick warning that we are going to talk about some sensitive topics such as stalking, mental health issues, and life-taking. So if that's not something that you can handle right now, I will catch you in the next one. Rebecca Lucille Schaeffer was born on November 6, 1967 in Eugene, Oregon. Her parents were academics. Her mother, Dana, a writer who taught at Willamette University and Portland Community College. Her father, Benson, was a doctor, a child psychologist. As a teen, Rebecca modeled and appeared in commercials. While she had considered being a rabbi, ultimately the bright lights of New York swayed her towards showbiz after spending a summer in New York at the age of 16 working with elite models. She asked her parents if she could stay in the city to pursue modeling, and they agreed. She did continue her education, attending professional children's school, and in 1985 landed a role on One Life to Live. Rebecca's co-star, Erica Slezak, was a veteran on the show, appearing as Victoria Lord for over 40 years. She said that Rebecca was remarkably good for somebody at that age. She had a certain presence and a confidence that exudes on screen. But then Rebecca got the call that would change her life, the role of Patty Russell in My Sister Sam, starring alongside Pam Dauber and Jenny O'Hara. Pam said that Rebecca was the one for the part. She was just right. Rebecca packed her bags and headed back to the West Coast for the role. My Sister Sam was an instant hit, landing Rebecca and Pam on various magazine covers like 17 and TV Guide, which was the #1 magazine in the US at the time. I miss the TV Guide. As her star shone brighter, Rebecca stayed humble. Her friends said that the attention never went to her head. She even started dating a film student who she had met on a blind date, Brad Silberling. He would go on to direct a few films you might know, like City of Angels and Casper. Brad was 23, Rebecca was 19, and they were very serious about each other. My Sister Sam was canceled after its second season, and Rebecca appeared in The End of Innocence, which was written and directed by Diane Cannon. Diane said that Rebecca was a bright light. She was rare. In the summer of 1989, Rebecca was up for the highly coveted role of Mary, Al Pacino's daughter in The Godfather 3. She was excited for the audition. She knew how important it was. It's rumored she was also in consideration for a romantic comedy called Pretty Woman. But while Rebecca had been living her life in Hollywood, 484 miles away, 19-year-old Robert Bardo had spent the last 4 years of his life obsessing over her. It started with My Sister Sam. He taped every episode, and then he started sending letters. Many, many letters. One of which Rebecca responded to, telling him it was the nicest letter she'd ever received. Her friends warned her that her kindness could be misinterpreted, but Rebecca was known for being very trusting. Her former agent said that she had such an open heart. Unfortunately, they were right to be concerned. Rebecca's response made Bardo's infatuation even more intense. But Rebecca's dad read the letters and didn't see anything wrong with them. He just thought Bardo was a kid who wanted attention. But he wasn't wrong either. Bardo wanted so much attention that he took a Greyhound to LA, rented a hotel room, and went to Warner Brothers' studio with a teddy bear and flowers for Rebecca. He wanted to tell her he loved her. He was stopped by security, and one kind security guard drove him back to his hotel and told him to go back home to Tucson. Bardo was a high school dropout who couldn't keep a job and had too much time on his hands, so he started studying celebrity stalkers and even traveled to the apartment where John Lennon's life was taken by a fan after he couldn't find one of his other obsessions, Debbie Gibson. After reading about the man who almost took actress Teresa Saldana's life after gaining information of her whereabouts from a private investigator, he realized he could hire someone who would help him find Rebecca. This time he wasn't looking to tell her he loved her. This time, he felt betrayed after seeing her act in a love scene and scenes from the class struggle. He had tried to find other stars he was interested in, like Tiffany and obviously Debbie, but they weren't as easy to find as Rebecca. All it took was $250 for the PI, and he had Rebecca's home address from the DMV. This time, instead of a teddy bear and flowers, he had a revolver in his bag. On the morning of July 18, 1989, Rebecca was waiting for a very important delivery, the script for Godfather 3. But when she answered the door of her West Hollywood apartment at 10:15 a.m. that morning, instead of receiving a script, Bardo put a bullet through her heart. He ran away in his flip-flops, flinging a copy of Catcher in the Rye onto a rooftop nearby. It was the book that John Lennon's stalker had been reading. All Rebecca said after he shot her was, "Why? Why?" She was taken to Cedars-Sinai Hospital, where she was pronounced dead. The following day, he was found running in freeway traffic in an attempt to end his life. Police found him, and he sobbed in their squad car, admitting that he had shot someone. 2 years later, Bardo went to trial. Prosecutor Marcia Clark was tasked with proving he was guilty of first-degree murder, while his public defender argued for second-degree, claiming that it was an impulsive act. In interviews, Bardo claimed that he was surprised Rebecca had answered her door and that she was just a regular person. They chatted for a minute. She told him to take care. She smiled, and he left. But then he came back. He would later say in an interview, "She said, 'You came to my door again.' It was like I was bothering her again. 'Hurry up, I don't have much time.' I thought that was a very callous thing to say to a fan," claiming that he had been provoked by Rebecca. He had also reenacted the moment he took her life, hiding the revolver behind his back. Marcia noted that hiding the weapon was a sign of premeditation, not the impulsive act that the defense was pushing, saying he came from Tucson with a weapon. How credible is it that he was genuinely provoked in that moment? Bardo's defense attempted to paint him as the victim of mental illness and neglect. The psychiatrist who interviewed Bardo testified that he was a sick young man who suffered from schizophrenia and wanted to be famous. Bardo also told the psychiatrist that he was inspired by U2's Exit, which he sang along to when it was played in court. U2 would not play that song again until 2017. Marcia argued that Bardo took Rebecca's life for fame and that his actions were very intentional, not under the influence of his illness. The judge agreed that his condition did not preclude premeditation and gave Bardo life without the possibility of parole. Rebecca's death led to California passing the nation's first anti-stalking law in 1990, which led to other states and countries adopting similar laws. Screen Actors Guild lobbied for stronger privacy protections, including the limitation on accessible information from the DMV. The LAPD was inspired to launch a threat assessment unit, and Rebecca's death laid the foundation for the private threat assessment industry. Bardo currently lives in Avenel State Prison, where he's trying to leverage his criminal behavior as an expert on stalking. He even wrote to a PI in Laguna Hills who appeared in a special about Hollywood stalkers, saying in his letter that, "I'm in prison for an infamous, notorious case involving Hollywood. I tried contacting the LAPD Threat Management Unit and they did not respond, even though I am the reason they exist." A fellow inmate did try to end his life while he was in Mule Creek State Prison in 2007, but obviously he survived. Rebecca didn't like to party. She preferred staying home and playing with her cat. She liked classical music and going to the Hollywood Bowl. She was curious and authentic. Jenny O'Hara said there was nothing phony about her. She even babysat Jenny's daughter, Sophie. In 2002, Brad Silberling released the film Moonlight Mile that was inspired by his time briefly living with Rebecca's parents in Oregon after her passing. Brad didn't date for 2 years after she passed, but remained connected to her parents, who were at his 1995 wedding to Amy Brenneman, who played Casper's mom in the movie, by the way. For Rebecca's parents, Dana and Benson, it was harder to come to terms with the loss of their only child. They worked diligently to fight for better control of hand weapons, and in 2018, Dana premiered her one-woman show at the Hollywood Fringe Festival called Midair: Elegy for a Daughter. She said at the time that they were finally arriving at some tentative resolution about accepting the fact that Rebecca's not here. Dana passed away unexpectedly in 2022, and I don't know what the universe holds for us. I don't know what comes after all of this, but I hope that whatever it is, wherever we go, that Dana and Rebecca are back together.